like that makes all the time being in the woods worthwhile. Like I said, a lot of us have been in the woods since Monday. We're going to be talking about researching with equipment, how to use it. We're going to kind of go through this real quick. Then we're going to go ahead and take lunch. We're going to come back and do the casting because it's going to take us a little bit to get it set up. So, basically, when you research, you don't have to buy all the big name brand toys and all that. Walmart is a researcher's best friend because a lot of the stuff that they got there, you can modify it to use in your research. You don't have to be rich. I mean, a lot of us are using $30 bionic ears. Buy according to what you expect to do. Not everybody has the same goal in mind when they're out researching. Some people are out there just so they can see one for themselves. Others are out there trying to prove this exists to everybody. So, you know, you just want to use the equipment to do what you're wanting to do out there. You need to research for information and you need to play it smart. Not only do you need to play it smart, you need to play it safe. We got a policy where we don't like people wandering off by themselves. It's better to have two people there. That way if you see something, you got two witnesses instead of just one. Right here is a night vision scope. We're not trying to break one out here later today and turn on all the lights and see if we can get one to work. This is a night owl scope. A lot of us have these type. They're Russian made and they're available at Walmart for about $149. It uses a little LED light right here to illuminate. On a full moon night, you can see forever with it. Trail cams, as Randy was talking about earlier, we've pretty much given up on trail cams. The only thing that they're good for is getting deer and maybe a couple bears. What we do now is we use these to actually focus the Bigfoot in the areas that we want them to go to. Up here on the ridge where we're at, last couple of times we put them across the road on one side of us, and every time the Bigfoot will come in from the direction that we don't have cameras in. Randy's actually got some really good cameras that do infrared. They'll avoid them. The pictures that we do get, you see a stick or a leaf in front of the camera. And we're of the opinion that Bigfoot knows what they are. They know they got a minute after the flash goes off to go do whatever they want in front of the camera, you know. Or they out there dancing around, you know, doing all kinds of weird things. We don't know, but they got that minute. A lot of people will say, hey, I'll have a bunch of bait out there in front of the camera. And you'll see that stick go in front of the camera, set it off, and then the next thing you know, the bait's gone. So that just kind of goes to show you, they're setting these cameras off and using that time to get what they want. There's just a picture of a game camera that was out in the field on one of our expeditions. Bionic ears. Dave, can you run and get your bionic ear? We'll let everybody just listen to it. These are our most valuable tools. You can sit 200-300 feet away and you can actually hear what the Bigfoot's doing out in the woods. We get Randy up here, he's better explained about the parabolic than I am. Talk about parabolic.
Well, that's probably the only piece of equipment you'll need, if you ask me. These animals are very stealthy, very quiet. But they do make noise. They can't be totally silent. But you need to enhance your hearing to hear them sometimes. They'll move around quietly. You'll hear snapping. And this is really the only non-invasive or non-invasive way to monitor them. It's not spotlights, it's not cameras. It's just listening. So they think you can't hear them, and they think they're being quiet, and you can hear them. It gives you a great way to monitor where they're at and what they're doing without spooking them. I mean, they need to know that they're in control. And if you direct your attention to where you think they are and start pointing your finger and getting other people to look, that's a good way to end your activity because they don't want to be discovered like that. It makes them feel uncomfortable, I guess. So just listen with your parabolic, you can hear them. You'll hear a lot of other things too, but it's also great. I use the parabolics as I'm going to sleep at the campsite, because that seems to be when a lot of activity happens, when you finally close the camp down and everybody gets into your tents and you lay down. Like for an hour or so before you go to sleep, I put them in my ears and I sit outside the tent to where I can just listen, just lay there and listen. That's when they start coming around a little bit closer, because things have quieted down and they think it's really safe. Plus, it allows me to go to sleep. Even with those in my ears, I'm hearing crickets and owls and things going on. But when I hear all of a sudden a loud crunch or a snap, it jars me awake and I can start paying attention. So, I mean, the parabolic microphones, I love them. I love them. They're a great tool to use for these things.
Of course, folks, Dave back here in the white shirt, he's got his parabolic. If you want to go up there and listen out of him real quick, just walk up to him. He'll be glad to help you with it. Great little device. Like Randy said, when we all start shutting down camp, we hook up our little tape recorders to him, so whatever we hear through that parabolic, we also record. Yes, sir.
What's a rig like that worth?
You can actually get this for about $30 off of eBay and Amazon, and this is what, about $200 altogether. Yeah, but you know, it goes back to like a car. You get what you pay for. This doesn't really have the range as that one, but you know, we go back to what do you want to get out of research. If you're just out there to see one or hear one yourself, this would be a good thing to do. But if you're going to go out there and really research hard like we do, this is the one that you really need. Yes, ma'am.
How do you know that's what you're hearing and it's not there?
Well, here's what we do. A lot of our researchers, we tell, get your dog and have somebody walk through the backyard with that dog while you're listening to the dog. And you start understanding the difference between a bipedal creature moving, because you get your friend or your family member to walk across in front of you, but then you listen to that dog and you start realizing real quick the difference in the sound. So, and of course, one thing that we learned is a lot of time they'll move 4 or 5 steps and they'll stop and they'll listen and they'll move 4 or 5 more steps. I mean, they just don't come tromping through there.
But you're right. Yeah, just because every sound you hear is not Bigfoot. There was a time I was sitting at a campsite. Matter of fact, it's the same campsite up there where we got the Bridgewalker video. I was sitting there one night with a friend of mine. We were listening to parabolics and heard something coming up out of the gully. And it sounded just like something walking. And we just got real quiet. It was like, and it went around the campsite. It sounded just like something walking. And I was really wigging out because it was close. When you're listening to parabolic, it sounds like it's on top of you. And this thing was walking like it didn't have a care. And I'm like, why aren't we seeing it? It's right here somewhere. And all of a sudden, here comes this armadillo. And he's using his nose, and it sounded like footsteps as he's pushing the leaves. So you're right, but you have to assume that some of the things you're hearing are Bigfoot, because some of the things you're hearing aren't Bigfoot. They're good at mimicry. You know, and some people don't want to hear this, and some people know this to be a fact. The 2 Bigfoots that I saw, one was hooting like an owl. It was going, whoo, whoo, like 17 times in 2 minutes. Big Bigfoot. And that's the moment I knew that I couldn't be certain that when I heard an owl sound that it was actually an owl, because I had an ornithologist listen to the recordings of the Bigfoot doing that. They said it was an owl, and it was not an owl. It was the Bigfoot doing that. So they are absolutely perfect with their mimicry, and I know that as a fact. So I don't have any qualms of trying to think when I hear an owl. Can I be certain that's an owl? No, I can't be certain, because I know that they will mimic other animals.
And to kind of back that up, come here, Goose. This little guy here, we've been researching this hot area up in Aaron County for about 5 or 6 months now. And we went down and spent the weekend at that research area on a rock bank. And of course, he went down there with us for a little bit. We kept having to get on to him. Izzy, get over here. Izzy, don't do that. Izzy, come here. And it was just about dark time. Squatch finder back there, Dave, the guy with the bionic gear, actually seen one behind his vehicle in the river ring. And of course, that was a little too close for comfort, so we took Izzy back into town, took him home. And that night after we went to bed, about 3 o'clock in the morning, we're laying there, me and my wife, out of nowhere you hear, Izzy. And she bolted upright. She's like, did you hear that? Well, yeah, I just want to make sure you heard it too. And it repeated 5 or 6 times. Izzy, Izzy. But it was 2 different tones. So it was like 2 different creatures were there. And all we can figure is they heard us screaming his name enough. You know, Izzy, don't do that. Izzy, get over here. And they were imitating what we were saying. So, no, we won't talk about the fish yet. So, but, you know, stuff like that, you're sitting there at 3 o'clock in the morning in the middle of nowhere on a creek bank, and you hear this come out of the blue. After the last time, the wife was like, that's it, I've had it, I'm getting in the blazer and I'm sleeping the rest of the night in the blazers. Basically, this shows how parabolic works. The bow actually goes and focuses everything on the microphone, basically just like your ear works. You know, your outer ear actually focuses everything up to the eardrum. Mounting bionic ears, a lot of great ways to do it. Here you see the handheld. We've got a couple of guys out in the woods with that. We've got one mounted on a tripod, so we just set it out there and away we go. And of course, when it's real cold, like 7 degrees out there, you know, we'll sit in the vehicle and get out of the wind, but we actually just put it up in the window there and sit there and listen. Of course, here's Randy's coffin. He's built a little research trailer. It's probably half the size of this stage. And of course, you can see his parabolic. He's got the dish off of it, but it's got it stuck through the walls of the trailer. And of course, this is our Captain Audio. This gentleman here has put 3 parabolic devices together and tied them into one recording device. And what he can do is he's got these little dials that he can tune out each one until he locates which direction the sound's coming from. But he can record all 3 at the same time. GPS systems, folks, this is the greatest thing that they've ever invented for research. Me and the guys, we were probably about 15 miles back in the woods. What was it, Tuesday night, Wednesday night? Wednesday night. And the only thing that kept us from not coming back was the GPS unit, because we sat there and we could watch on the top of the maps as we were going, which direction we needed to turn. Hey, here comes a trail. There's a fork in the road. Which way do we go? You know, just great stuff. If you find a territory marker or some kind of tree structure, you can actually hit the waypoint button, save a waypoint so you know where to go back to. Just a lot of great things you can do with the GPS. Pheromone chips, you can see Randy's got one right here. This has been used a lot, not with a lot of great success, but they've took ape and human pheromones, which is an attractant, and they put it on these chips. And you can see Randy's got gloves on. Once you get that stuff on you, it is hard to get off. It has to wear off. And we tried to put this out in an active area, and we didn't really get much success, but I kept wondering if there was a Bigfoot going to go up there knocking on Randy's trailer, trying to get in with him after that, because he got some of it on him. Night driving. This is another great thing that you can do that's cheap, inexpensive. You don't have to get out in the woods where the snakes are and everything. And we actually did this it was Wednesday night when we was on the trip. We took a camcorder that has night shot capability. Matter of fact, it's that same camera right here. And we mounted it on the front of the Polaris Ranger that's out here in front of the building. As we was driving down the road, its night shot capability can actually extend about 50 feet out past the beams of the headlights. So anything running across the road in front of you, you're going to be able to see it. You know, it may not get in the headlights, but if it's within that 50 feet past the headlight range, you're going to be able to catch it. Here you can see kind of a mock-up of a Bigfoot going across the road. But here is the tripod mount that we had in a van one night. What we do is we cover the little infrared LED on the front so it don't blind you on the windshield. But then you just start driving. You drive down back roads. Of course, with a van, you can't go too many places, so we do this a lot in my Blazer. You know, we'll go down logging roads, ATV trails. You go down through there, and if anything jumps out in front of you, boom, you got it. Digital video recorders. We're actually going to bring one and set it up. Logistic-wise, we just couldn't get it down here. We've got a computer that can record up to 500 hours of video. And we hook it up to a small Honda generator, which is really quiet. And we run out 4 of these cameras right here, which are night vision cameras. And we can deploy these up to 400 feet away and watch an entire area. We actually had one of these up there in Claremore for over a year and ended up with, what did I find? Say the problem tally was like 20,000 hours of video that we have to go through. We're still going through all that. But it was 24/7 recording. We can actually set these to do motion detection to where if they detect motion, we'll start recording. But I think we put together these for about $1,200. So, you know, not bad for 24-hour surveillance around the campsite or whatever. This just kind of shows you how we set it up. Say somebody says, hey, something keeps coming banging on my walls of my house. You know, can you guys come out and check it out? Well, we'll set the DVR up in their house and run the cameras out all around. So if a Bigfoot comes close, hopefully we can get him. Of course, here's the field DVR setup. We got the generator out here. We got everything set up with lasers. You can basically cover the windows with blankets so you don't have this big glow from the monitor everywhere. Miscellaneous equipment. I mean, like I said, you don't have to be rich to get research equipment. This right here is an axe handle that we use for wood knocking. Pinwheels. We like to put the pinwheels out there and try to get the Bigfoot interested or curious about what's going on. We've actually had those things get up and move on us. And an interesting story that happened up in Claremore where we had one laying on the ground by the back tire of a vehicle. And 3 big creatures come up behind that vehicle. The next morning when we looked back here, the pinwheel had been moved from the back tire back behind the vehicle where they were standing. One of them had reached up there and was playing with it. Thread. Thread is a really great thing to use like when you're out in the woods or you think something's coming up to your house. You take this thread at a height of about 6 foot, run it between 2 trees, tie it off, go up a foot, do it at 7 feet across, and then 8 feet across. Now the whole idea of this, if somebody comes walking through there that is over 6 feet tall, they're going to break that bottom string. So now you know you got a 6 to 7 foot person coming through there or a Bigfoot. Okay? The 7 foot string and the 6 foot string gets broke. You know you got something from 7 to 8 feet tall, which pretty much leaves out a human. If the 8 foot tall one gets busted, I would highly suggest you get out of that area because you got a big ass, excuse me, you got a big monkey in the area and you don't want to really be around. Glow sticks, you can get these at Walmart. We like to go and put them hanging on trees and stuff. What we're trying to do with those is we're playing on the Bigfoot. They're so curious about things, we use that to lure them in. And we've actually sit there and seen our glow sticks get plucked off a tree and go running across the hillside. And you know, we're not talking in one spot. It's swinging where they're swinging their arms while they're running. And of course, it does have its disadvantages. No mercy up here. We were throwing them outside of our perimeter one night, trying to get them to get closer. He chunked kids out there in the woods, and just within a half a second, a rock comes sending them back and hit the tree right in front of him. So I don't think they appreciated him throwing something at them. They let him know about it. Here's the research trailers. This is Randy's coffin. We keep discussing the fact that one of these days a Bigfoot's going to come up with a can opener and start opening that thing up and see what's inside. You can't really see it, but he actually had a place where he could rotate his bionic ear up here. He's since cut holes in the side where he can stick them out. This is his original trailer that had a drop-down ramp on it, but he changed the way it was built and put a door on it. Here's our big base camp research trailer. We can pull this up and have our DVR set up, deploy the cameras, carry extra equipment in there. And we've actually used this on several expeditions where 2 or 3 of us slept inside it because it was really cold. It wasn't too comfortable, but at least it kept the wind off of us. And of course, the one thing that you really need more than anything is stamina. And of course, you see this little guy right here. He's been researching since he was 6 months old. He was in diapers when we was taking him out in the field with us. This was after a hard day of research. He passed out before we got back home. But that's pretty much our little presentation. Yes, ma'am.
You said when you put that camera on the front of your vehicle,
Yes, sir.
you ever found anything or got anything?
Yeah, we've got a Bigfoot field guide video posted on YouTube. And there's been a lot of controversy. People are seeing different things. They're saying 2 legs go across. They're saying, no, it's maybe 4 legs going across, running up away from you. But it was still interesting enough that people took notice. So, yes, sir.
On your parabolic air, it's often directional, so how big an area are you monitoring when you go 100 yards out, say?
Well, now, Dave has got the one that's got the parabolic on it, and you can actually focus it, and it will cover an area probably, basically you got to think of a cone going out, but you can cover a pretty good distance with it.
So the further it's out, the wider the distance.
Yeah. Hey Dave, see the dish itself actually focuses the sound, so you just got to kind of imagine a cone coming towards you. So, but if anybody got any questions they want to ask or comments? Okay, I tell you what, folks, we're going to take about a 15-minute break so we can go out and get the trays and bring them in and start mixing up the hydrocal. So if you want to go take a bathroom break or stretch your legs, we'll get started in about 15 minutes.
Join the Mid-America Bigfoot Research Center on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. for the Bigfoot Field Guide Radio Show. For more information, go to the Mid-America Bigfoot Research Center's website at www.mid-americabigfoot.com. Listen to the hosts talk about everything Bigfoot, from behaviors to current research being conducted in the field. It's all there, and also check out the archives at www.talkshoe.com/tc/10072, and tell them that Bigfoot sent you. See ya there.